That's okay. And just to sort out the geography, the Motueka is the Māori name for Havelock. So we're on the other side of the hills to Motueka, which is over Nelson Way. So I'm part of Marlborough District Council. I've been here for 4.5 years, and I manage 2 programs, Smart and Connected, which is a community program, and Small Townships, which is a little bit of everything, but a lot to do with sort of master planning, urban design for small towns, and then community engagement. And since this week's happened, I'm kind of sort of turning around and trying to look at how much placemaking I can kind of put in there as well. So it's a little bit, so Marlborough's got a number of really small communities, anywhere from sort of a couple of hundred people up to sort of 4,000, that's outside Blenheim. A lot of those are sort of situated on state highways, so they have a massive state highway going through the middle with lots of transport and accessibility issues. But they're all really unique, fiercely independent, and kind of passionate about making things better for their townships. So what we did with the Small Townships program is it actually came from some work that the council did over 10 years ago now, and got all the communities really excited about developing sort of like strategic plans for their townships. But I think the global recession happened and they never put any funding into it. So in 2016, just before I started, they decided to put funding into these towns outside of Blenheim and Picton. So one of the good things about the program is it actually came with quite a lot of money. Unfortunately, one of the downsides of that is the time it takes to kind of undertake this community-led development meant that some of the delivery stuff hasn't happened, but we are on a roll. For some reason, our council's gone crazy on getting infrastructure projects underway this year. So we're full steam ahead through COVID and into next year to get a lot of these projects underway. What I was going to talk about with this, the Motueka Havelock pathway, this was conceived by the town in 2014, but it had been kicking around a bit before that, to connect them with their estuary. Through the Smart Connected process, it came out as like the #1 priority. So I guess it's a little bit different to some of the community spaces that people have talked about in urban areas, but it's very much kind of what this community is about, getting out and walking and being in the environment and connections across town. What happened was it bounced around the community for quite a number of years, and they were trying to look at putting in a pathway right through the middle of the estuary. You can't quite tell in that photograph, but it was one of those ones that was really never going to fly. It was too difficult, too many impacts, and didn't have support from council or iwi. So when I picked it up, there was quite a bit of frustration in the community that they couldn't get this off the ground. So what we looked at was kind of actually a pathway that was achievable. Set up a partnership really with the Havelock Community Association and the Link Pathway Trust, which is a volunteer organisation that's building another pathway in the area. And that worked really well with having a combination of kind of practical skills, links with the community and all of the other community organisations that are part of that community and council. So we did spend a little bit of time going through the plans, doing a lot of consultation with the joining landowners to make sure they were happy, and then the practical resource consent application. So this is underway at the moment, and it's going great guns. They're due to be finished in January. As you can see there, there's a couple of paid staff that are part of the Link Pathway Trust, but all the rest of it's done by local volunteers and students from Outward Bound are the ones in the middle photo there. So very much a community effort. And then one of the things we're just about to do, which is this week's been great for it, is the community's been doing some fundraising, and they've raised $25,000 to put into this pathway. So what we talked about is the council would fund the path, and then they could look at kind of developing some community spaces. So picnic areas, planting, interpretation signs, whatever it is that they want to come up with. So we're just about to start doing that planning now, and just looking at a date today in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, really great timing with kind of going, actually that is a placemaking program, and if we can kind of think about it in that way, it'll be great. So yeah, that's just a little story. I've got a number of projects that are happening around Marlborough. Probably some of the things that kind of I found a little bit difficult was taking on too much, taking on too many towns, the demand for everybody to kind of get involved in all these programs, and the coordination across other council departments. So really good support from councillors and really good support from the community. And that was very successful, and having the funding that helped. Some of the stuff that we're working on at the moment is around engagement with iwi. So we've had some places where we've been able to make some connections. They're really heavily involved. The local iwi Ngāti Kuia did a free cultural assessment, impact assessment for us for this pathway, which is awesome. And looking at kind of how this program works internally is quite difficult for us within the different departments, and kind of this activation, which is kind of a little bit what the group's been talking about, is sort of a bit of a work in progress.
Amazing. Kia ora, Addie. Thanks so much for sharing.